Hey, with it being Father's Day, I thought this would be a good opportunity to share my childbirthing story from when we had our son. Looking back, it was an exciting time. It was fun. But it was also kind of a difficult time, I've realized, and almost maybe even traumatic, what I went through during that childbirth. I was there with my wife, and we were really excited, and she began to be in pain and stuff. So the nurse calls me over and says, "Hey, you should hold her hand." And so I grabbed her hand, and I'm not really sure that was a good idea because like all of her strength and energy was like focused in her hand, and so there were these times where she would just like really squeeze and it would hurt really bad, and then it would kind of go away, and I would think, oh man, thank goodness it's gone. But then it would kind of come in waves, and then something else would happen, and she would just really get down on it. And I still can't even really grip things tightly with this hand, just from what happened in that situation. And then my feet were really hurting. It was probably like 3 hours that we'd been standing because when we got there, nobody offered me a seat or anything. And so my feet they were starting to swell, and they were really kind of hurting. So that was tough, and it hurt my back and my ankles. And then the nurse, she was like, "Hey, there's some pressure points on your wife's back that if you push those, that might help her." And so for me to get to those, though, I had to like lean over and like put a lot of pressure, like all the pressure on this left leg, and to get back there. And so, I stood like that for a really long time, and it really, like, it started to hurt. I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't any permanent nerve damage to that leg, just from the angle, and just it was really awkward, and it hurt my leg. And so I'm not really sure what's going on. And then no, I was really hungry. Nobody had offered me anything to eat. We'd been there for like 4 hours, and so nobody offered me any ice chips or food or anything. And so that was kind of tough because my iron would get kind of low, and I'm standing there. And then some of you may know, like, in those rooms it gets really hot, like it's super hot in there. And so I'm still standing there, like, with those pressure points in that awkward position. And so the nurse, like, I think she could tell it was getting really hot, so she went and got a fan. But then she focused all of it on my wife to get all of the air. And so it was one of those oscillating fans, so it never really got to me because of the way I was standing. And so I didn't know, like, should I let go of her back just to get a little relief of the fan, or do I need to stay? I didn't know. But so I just stayed there to get those pressure points. And then the sweat would just like fall on my eyes, and it made my eyes water, not really from the occasion, but just because it was so hot, and it would just burn. Sweat burns your eyes, and so it was a difficult thing. And then I just felt like Father's Day, we don't always recognize what dads go through during the birthing experience. And nobody had offered me a chair or medicine. My wife, she had an epidural, she had a mask thing, these things to kind of help her, and like nobody offered me like an aspirin or anything. And I just feel like that probably would have helped the experience. But it was worth it. I would do it again. If we wanted to have more kids, I would do that. But I just think it's time that we recognize how hard it is on dads, and that we just really appreciate what they do. So thank you, dads, and happy Father's Day to everyone.